Joining me now as part of our panel, Eric Yaverbaum, who's here as always. We love having you here, President of Ericho.
Thank you. I love being here.
You look great.
And thank you. You look great too, and color coordinated as always.
Oh, thank you very much. Everything going well in your world?
Everything is going fantastic.
Terrific. And we have Guy Benson standing by in Washington, who is the political editor of townhall.com. Welcome. Great to have you on board today.
Hi, Uma. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Are you doing okay? Is everything good in your world as well?
Yeah, it's a little hot and humid down here, but, you know, that's D.C. for you. It's a swamp.
It is. It can be a swamp. It's supposed to be pretty steamy here in the next few days as well in New York. But I'm not going to complain because we had such a tough winter, so I welcome the heat wave. Bring it on. Okay, first off, I want to go ahead and focus just for a moment before we get to some of the other stories of the day. Just your quick take on the Congressman Weiner story. Should he be out? Should he resign and be less of a distraction to the party?
He's going to be out in some way, shape, or form, or censured. I mean, he made the most fundamental mistake in the world. The first time he was accused of anything, he should have said, "I did it," right away. I
mean, you're a master of communications. You're a master of public relations and crisis control.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
And when somebody asks you that question and you did it, you say you did it. It's human nature to say you didn't. He compounded it because his human nature was to keep saying he didn't do it day after day after day after day. So he's lost his credibility, and that's the one thing we need in Washington. We need people that we can count on. I love him. It's a shame for the Democratic Party, but he's really cut himself off at the knees now. He's not going to be politically effective again, and sooner or later he'll realize that.
And Guy, this is another example of why the public tends to become so disenchanted with everything to do with people who are holding office in Washington, that they become so alienated from the process and the people who are behind it.
Yeah, because they see arrogance on parade left and right on the ideological spectrum, where these guys and occasionally a woman, they get into power and they just feel like they're bulletproof. They can do virtually anything. No one will ever find out. And even if people found out, maybe they'd forgive. And I completely agree with Eric. I mean, it's the oldest cliche in the book, but it's so true. And I think this is Exhibit A today and yesterday. The cover-up is worse than the crime. And while it was certainly unbecoming a member of Congress to be tweeting photographs like that of himself to women who are not his wife, and no one's going to condone that, if Anthony Weiner a week ago had come out and said, you know what, yes, I did that, it was a mistake, I'm very sorry, this is something I want to deal with my wife and move on, I'm not going to let it distract me from you know, the rest of the business that I'll go about doing as a member of Congress, he probably would have come under some criticism, and I think he would have deserved it, but I don't think we would have seen the feeding frenzy. I don't think we would have seen the firestorm, and he just went out and lied repeatedly and deliberately and flagrantly to the American public and every news anchor who would listen to him for a week. And that does no one any favors. And unlike Eric, I'm not a huge fan of Congressman Weiner's, but I agree with him that he's got to go based on the absolute trashing of his own credibility.
Well, I want to put it out to our viewers out there. We have our poll of FoxNews.com live You Decide poll today, and the question we're asking: should Representative Anthony Weiner resign? We'd like you to weigh in on this. Let us know, you know, your thoughts. Let us know. Go ahead and email us with your, with your comments and concerns. And again, we thank you for taking part in the Tuesdays You Decide. 51 nations such as Argentina, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia weighed in, along with 49 states in the U.S. So that's a very good deal. I mean, we've got lots of people checking us out and weighing in with their comments and concerns. Okay, the other part of this, which I find very interesting, he just, yesterday in the news conference, I mean, he was obviously quite teary-eyed. The other part, he said, he just panicked. Is that enough of an excuse to say that's why he distorted the story and lied?
Well, no. What it is what he did. It's human nature. He got caught. It's like a child getting caught. I didn't do it. That's exactly what he did. The problem is, I mean, athletes do this, politicians, they're all held to a different, standard. If you're going to be an elected official, you can't conduct yourself that way. You just can't do it. But if you do, you will get caught. And we've said this in Washington for decades. Bill Clinton was famous for saying, if you did it, it's going to come out. Now, Schwarzenegger kind of defied, all logic, and so did John Edwards for a while. But in the end, you will always find out to say no. I mean, it's Twitter. It's so traceable. And people who aren't familiar with Twitter, like, he made the dumbest mistake in the world.